Hello and welcome to Math 311, Differential Equations with Linear Algebra. I'm your professor, Dr. Corban Harwood, and I want to highlight a few pieces of our course syllabus and class resources to make them a little bit more familiar for you. Note, I do expect you to read through the course syllabus carefully yourself and refer back to it whenever you have questions about the logistics of this course, any due dates or details. Okay, let's start in. First off, we have links to three policies that are common across all George Fox online courses, one on academic integrity, one on policy for student trips and needed internet access, and one on disability and accessibility services, to remind you that accommodations are available for online classes too. Next up, we have quick access links to course resources. First is where we're at, or where I am at, projecting to you, is in Canvas, and that's where the video lectures, forum, project assessments, all that can be is housed, can be accessed from. The next is WebAssign. Now, WebAssign is not built into Canvas; it's a separate web page, and I'll be updating the homework from there. But you can register, and you can log into it through this login link above, but if you haven't registered yet, you should use this link that includes the our course key. And when you get into WebAssign, you will see the list of your assignments, including their due dates. And here you should be able to see all of the assignments. You also have access to the textbook. And for the textbook, you can access it by section. Say we want to jump to the separable method, Newton's law of cooling, right? And then go through it page by page separately. Okay, so there is our textbook that's bundled with and accessible through WebAssign. And we'll talk about that when we get to the required textbook section. Next up, we have my contact information. My main form of contact that I check is through email, but you can also text or call my office phone number. Please, if you text, include your name and the course number at least, so that I have some context for who to make a calendar link for on our Zoom. This link right here will be the same one used for all office hours. So if you lose track of it, this is the Zoom link in the syllabus. What follows is a little description of the course, including topics we cover, an overview, some relevant quotations, and outcomes related to what you will develop by successfully completing this course. Here we are at the required text and online access, same link that we had above. Notice that while you can purchase the textbook separately, the ebook is automatically available alongside WebAssign. So you only need WebAssign access for the course days. The other required technology, as discussed by the online policies, is daily access to the internet. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to be working every day on this course, although I do encourage you to work in chunks and check in regularly. you do need daily access. You need to be able to access stuff online throughout your time this summer. And if you have some trips scheduled where you are not able to access the internet for a little bit, please let me know ahead of time and we can see if we need to reschedule some things for you to be able to continue to participate fully in the course. There's a couple of software links here that are that we'll be using throughout the course. So I just want to put those links here, including Zoom. And it's important for you to have some way of taking pictures or scanning high quality pictures of your handwritten work, specifically for exams. Here are some course-specific policies, including attendance, which really means your active participation in accessing the materials on Canvas, accessing and working through your homework and WebAssign, and checking in with me. As we'll discuss below, there is a very regular rhythm to the deadlines, and it's important that you meet those. I do not accept late work after those deadlines without reasonable explanation for personal emergencies. So making sure that you keep up with the work, and if you're unsure of being able to meet deadlines, contact me ahead of time. Let me know what's happening. What is keeping you from being able to complete these deadlines? There's some information on being able to drop or withdraw the course on time, so be mindful of those dates in case things don't work out. There's also some information on my availability, and then the course grade policy. And specific to this course, it's important that you know that all of the assessment, all the exam grades are based upon completion of key objectives. Those objectives are listed down below. And your completion of these objectives is based upon whether I evaluate your work as being A level, which means you have some minor mistakes at most. And it's clear that you know what you are doing. And if you get anywhere in that level, 90 to 100%, then I will give you 100%, a complete score for that objective. If you had some errors, multiple errors or significant errors, but it was still clear that you knew what you were doing, you had the right ideas, right concepts, kind of B-level work, if you would have gotten between 80 and 90% on partial credit, then I will offer you the chance to revise your work, to complete with corrections, or it means you have earned a revision. And if your work has multiple errors beyond this point, where it's not clear to me that you did know what you were doing or weren't able to finish all the pieces, then you get an incomplete. And what that means is that I want you to go back, review the material, and on the next assessment, try it again. So for example, let's say you did not get 80% on the first quiz, on the quiz for that objective. That's all right. Review the material, watch my solution video, and then come back and reattempt that topic on the exam, the next assessment. Not the same question, but the same content, using the same tools to solve these problems. And instead of selecting answers, writing out your work to show me that you know how to solve this. And even if you don't complete it or even earn revisions on at the exam, you also have the final exam, a chance to come back and attempt a second, reattempt, attempt for a third time. Here you go. So instead of focusing on how much of the work you got correct in terms of what partial credit you have earned, I only give 100%. And I give you multiple tries, multiple attempts to move yourself from being close to getting it right on, so that you build confidence in knowing how to do things correctly, and don't move on from a topic until you have completed it. Now, as part of that process, that journey of completion, the kind of correction stage or revision stage has a few guidelines. So right here I have a section which kind of helps you be most effective on, first, having a subject line that's easy for me to notice what you're correcting, reminding you that it's important for you to reflect on what was the error, summarizing my feedback, or including a screenshot of my feedback directly, and then showing the correction of that work. And again, that is to help you move from getting close to getting 100%. And I will work with you as long as you are active in submitting these. I will work with you to help you get closer and closer until you get it correct. The only limitation is your effort and time. Based upon those completions, your overall course grade is built from 80% of those. That seems really high, be based upon assessments. But again, this is assessments that you can attempt, reattempt, and reattempt again. So the goal is focused on using multiple different kinds of assessments, either quick selections on quizzes, in-depth work and presentation and projects, in-depth work shown for exams, less, and then similar work shown for final exams. The other 20% is based upon homework and other scores. So that's where everything else, any kind of assignment piece that it has a score attached to it, that goes into the other 20%. Here's our objectives. They are organized into groups by exam. And the letter in front refers to the kind of the subject or topic that they're grouped around. So we have first order equations, we have linear algebra and differential equations, we have systems of differential equations, and finally transforms, working with the plots at the end. Our deadlines are centered around Monday for homework, discussion forum posts, and projects, although projects are only due every other week. So for example, the project from week 1 is due on the Monday of week 2. There is no project of week 2 because week 2 has an exam. So each week alternates between having a project you're working on or an exam you're studying for. I have office hour available during every day of the week, 8 to 5 p.m., or outside of those times if I'm available and you need it. Every Thursday we have a quiz, and these quizzes are usually 10 to 20 or possibly 30 minutes in total based on how many objectives they cover. And you can take that quiz on Canvas at any time throughout the day on Thursday. Just make sure you have a time when you're not going to be interrupted. And then every other Friday, like not week 1, but like week 2, for example, we'll have an exam. And exam, again, is the amount of time is based on the number of objectives. Most exams will have 5 objectives, so that's 50 minutes plus some time. So let's say an hour or so. Plus some time to take pictures of your work. So about an hour for you to schedule, and that can be scheduled anytime on that Friday, from Friday morning through the next day, so midnight on the following Saturday. So you have a 48-hour window to fit your essentially hour-long exams, whereas you have a 24-hour window to fit your 10 to 20-minute quizzes. Mentioned already that the discussion forum posts are due on Mondays. So will be surveys. Those will come after each of the exams. And while I mentioned that I am available for office hours every day, you are required to check in with me twice throughout this semester. These are graded virtual check-ins, and they're specifically tied to assignments. So on week 2, for example, our first check-in, it'll be tied to project 1. And while they are graded and tied to that assignment, their main goal is for me to connect with you and make sure that you have access to all the available course resources and a plan to succeed. I will post calendar links in the weekly announcements for you to sign up for a time slot, and you are welcome to email me separately if you have any questions on these. The other kinds of assignments are problems through web design. We talked through that. Those are due weekly by midnight. You can find the summary on web design. I will mention that the first one, called EC Practice, does have a video because I want you to see how to enter stuff in and to review this material. This is the review section here. And if you go into the week 1 schedule on Canvas, you can see the video specifically for this homework 1M practice. If I haven't mentioned it already, I wanted to say that you can, for most of the problems on the homework, you can just redo it, reattempt it multiple times until you get it right. Only ones that you can't do that are if it's a true or false, like there's only 2 options and you choose one, then you obviously doesn't make sense. So besides those, which are few and far between, you are able to redo any of those homework parts to improve your grade. We talked already about projects a little bit. For most of the projects, you'll be putting together a slide presentation and then recording a presentation for me. The only one you won't be doing that is project 1, where you're Zoom meeting with me can be your presentation if you are ready for it. If you're not, then you can always do that presentation separately. We talked about assessments. They're all timed, but you can choose when to start them. So there's not a specific start time, any time on the days assigned. As mentioned before, the scores on any of these assessments, specifically on the quizzes, can't hurt you. So, for example, if you score low on a quiz, that just means you had a chance to, you had an attempt and you didn't get it on that attempt. So you try again. Specifically, you want to think of the quizzes as previewing the concepts. They are not going to be based upon the homework. They're going to be based upon the concepts behind the homework. So if you can do the homework, that's great. But you won't be able to do well on the quizzes unless you understand not just how to do the homework, but why it works. So again, these are concept quizzes, and they are to help prepare you for the concepts on the exams, which are going to be closer to the homework, but ask you to explain some things along the way from do and explain at the same time. As we've mentioned, this online course is a little different than in person. Your attendance is showing up on Canvas and looking around and making sure that you're aware of everything. Notice that your time commitment is going to be different than just going to a class, right? The amount of time that you are putting into just checking in is going to be quite a lot more than you would on a normal class. And watching videos, tracking down course content, all that stuff. Now, our accreditation guidelines state that each course should have roughly 2 hours of work outside of class for every credit hour in class. And this is not going to be the same for everybody, but that's what our accreditation standards are. And based upon those accreditation standards and the compressed version of our course in only 8 weeks, our guidelines are about 24 total hours per week, covering everything from navigating on Canvas, WebAssign, working on homework, watching videos, studying, taking assessments, communicating with me, reading emails from me, announcements, all that stuff. So again, I encourage you to check in regularly, at least on announcements, looking up things, watching videos, working on homework. Try to break it up into little bite-sized pieces throughout the week. And again, all that week's worth is mostly due on the following Monday. Only thing different is the quizzes and the exams. Here's a list of the course schedule, both in a table form as well as a list form. And the list is a little bit more detailed because it tells you exactly when each of the assignments are due and what is due. Like, for example, in week 1, you have a post due on Thursday and a quiz on Thursday. And for the discussion posts, these posts are just a short video recorded by yourself, and then you finish the discussion by replying to 2 others by the next Monday. So for week 1, your short video is just saying your name, your major, and your favorite summer activity. And then your replies are just saying hi to two others. Now, the prompts will be different for each week, but again, they're going to be short little things, just checking in, sharing. These are just things that you'll be sharing with each other throughout the week. And then there's a separate introduction assignment where I'm asking you to share more personal information that I don't want you to just publicly share it with everybody. And for these videos, you don't need any separate software. You can just click on the upload or record and go to the record media here. Make sure that your camera is working. Mine's off currently. On the introduction assignment, we have a link to a slide presentation, and this is a chance for me to share about myself, who I am, or who am I, and then ask, once you've read through my summary, my personal summary, ask that you share as much as you feel comfortable sharing about yourself academically, about who's important to you in terms of your family, some pictures to share a little bit about those important people in your lives, in your life, some things that are meaningful to you, that mark your story, adventures, what you believe in, what's meaningful to you spiritually. And then how have you experienced and viewed learning and mathematics specifically? Ending with, how can I pray for you? So these are, again, some personal things that I'm asking you to consider sharing with me, and I am sharing with you so that you get a chance to get to know me a little bit, and that I have opportunity to get to know you and connect with you more than this virtual recording of videos can allow. So with that, I wish you a good summer term, and I look forward to getting to know you better.